I retired at 55 with more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes, and I've never been more miserable in my life. My name is Richard. I did everything right according to the success playbook, built a company from nothing, sold it for millions, retired young, retired rich. And now I sit alone in a house too big for one person wondering what the hell it was all for. I need to tell you what nobody tells you about success, what they don't put in the business books or the motivational speeches, what you only learn when you get to the top of the mountain and realize you climbed the wrong one. This isn't going to be comfortable to hear, but I'm running out of time to care about being comfortable. And if my story can save even one person from making the same mistakes I made, then maybe these last years will mean something. Let me start at the beginning so you understand how I got here. I grew up poor, not struggling poor, actually poor. My father worked in a factory. My mother cleaned houses. We never had enough. Wore hand-me-down clothes, ate cheap food, lived in a small apartment in a bad neighborhood, and I hated it. Hated being poor. Hated watching my parents work themselves to death for nothing. Hated the shame of it. So I decided early that I was going to be different. I was going to be successful. I was going to have money. I was going to escape. I started my first business when I was 25. Import-export, worked 80, 90-hour weeks, lived in a tiny apartment, ate ramen, didn't take vacations, didn't have hobbies, just worked. Because I was building something, because I was going to be successful. And it worked. The business grew, started making real money. By the time I was 30, I was making more in a year than my father made in his entire life. And it felt amazing, felt like validation, like proof that I was worth something. I bought a nice car, a nice house, nice clothes, all the things I couldn't have growing up. And every purchase felt like a middle finger to poverty, like proof I'd made it. But I didn't stop working, kept pushing, kept building, because there was always more to achieve, more money to make, more success to prove. I got married when I was 32. Her name was Janet. She was beautiful, supportive, said she understood my ambition, said she didn't mind the long hours because she believed in what I was building. We had 2 kids, a son and a daughter, and I kept working, missed birthdays, missed school events, missed bedtimes and dinners and all the small moments because I was building the business, building our future, making sure they'd never be poor like I was. Janet would ask me to be home more, to spend time with the kids, to take a vacation. And I'd say soon, after this deal, after this quarter, after we hit this goal. Always soon, never now. The business kept growing. By the time I was 40, I had 200 employees, multiple offices, revenue in the tens of millions. I was successful by any measure, and I was exhausted. But I couldn't stop, because stopping felt like failing, like going backwards. My kids grew up, went to college, started their own lives, and I barely knew them. Didn't know what they cared about, what they struggled with, what made them happy. I'd been so busy providing for them that I'd never actually been there for them. Janet left when I was 48, said she'd been alone in our marriage for 15 years, that I'd chosen work over her over and over, that she was done waiting for me to show up. She didn't want my money, just wanted out. I tried to fight it, tried to explain that everything I did was for her, for the family, for our future. And she said, "That's the problem. You're always living for some future that never comes. You're never here now. The divorce was finalized. She got the house. I moved into a condo downtown, and I kept working. Because what else was there? Work was all I knew, all I'd ever done. Then I got an offer. A big tech company wanted to buy my business. The number was huge, more money than I'd ever imagined. And I took it, sold the company at 55 and retired with more money than I could spend. Everyone congratulated me, said I'd won, said I'd made it. Early retirement, financial freedom, the dream. And I had no idea what to do with myself. For 30 years, my identity had been the business. Building, growing, achieving, and now that was gone. So who was I? I tried to enjoy retirement, bought a bigger house, bought cars I didn't need, took expensive trips by myself, and it all felt empty. Having money without purpose is just having money. I tried to reconnect with my kids, called them, offered to help with anything they needed, sent gifts, tried to make up for lost time with money. And they were polite but distant. We had no real relationship. I was a stranger who happened to be their father. I tried to make friends, joined clubs, went to events, but I didn't know how to connect with people, had spent 30 years only having transactional relationships, employees, clients, business partners, never real friends, and I didn't know how to build those now. I tried dating, but what was I going to talk about? Work. That was over. My kids? Didn't really know them. My interests? I didn't have any. I'd been so focused on success that I'd never developed a personality beyond being successful. So I ended up alone, in a big, expensive house, with more money than I could spend, and nothing to do, no one to share it with, no real relationships, no purpose, no meaning. I'm not looking for sympathy. I made my choices. I chose work over family. I chose success over connection. I chose money over meaning. And now I'm living with those choices. But I need you to understand something. The success story they sell you is a lie. They tell you work hard, build something, make money, and then you'll be happy. You'll have made it. You'll have won. But there is no making it. There is no winning. There's just the life you're living right now. And if you're sacrificing now for some future payoff, you're going to wake up one day and realize the payoff doesn't exist. And the now you sacrificed is gone forever. I have more money than I'll ever need, and I'd give every penny to go back and do it differently, to be present for my kids when they were young, to actually build a marriage with Janet instead of just living in the same house, to make real friends, to have hobbies and interests and a life beyond work. But I can't go back. That time is gone. My kids are adults with their own lives. Janet remarried years ago. The friends I could have made I never met because I was working. All I have is money, and a big empty house, and regret so heavy I can barely breathe sometimes. Here's what no one tells you about success. It's not worth it. Not if it costs you everything else. Not if you get to the end alone with nothing but money and achievements that don't matter anymore. Your kids don't need you to work 80 hours a week. They need you to be there, to know them, to show up for the small moments because those are the moments that matter. Your spouse doesn't need you to make more money. They need you to be present, to be a partner, to choose them over work sometimes, over and over. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The success you're chasing won't make you feel how you think it will. It won't fill the hole, won't make you worthy. won't make you happy. I thought money would make me free. Instead, it just funded a very expensive loneliness. I thought success would make me matter. Instead, it just gave me achievements no one cares about now. I'm sitting in a house worth millions, and I eat dinner alone every night. I have enough money to do anything, and I have nothing I want to do. I achieved everything I set out to achieve, and it wasn't worth what it cost. I see young people now making the same choices I made, working all the time, sacrificing relationships for careers, chasing success like it's going to save them, and I want to grab them and tell them to stop, to go home, to be with their families, to live now instead of always planning for some future that might never come. But they won't listen, just like I wouldn't have listened. Because you have to learn some things the hard way. You have to get to the top of the mountain before you realize it was the wrong mountain. I just hope some of you are smart enough to learn from my mistakes instead of making your own. I hope some of you will choose differently. Will value time over money, connection over achievement, being present over being successful. Because I'm telling you from experience, success is not worth it. Not if you have to sacrifice your life to get it. Not if you end up rich and alone. I retired rich. I'm sitting in a mansion. I have more money than I need, and I'm more miserable than I was when I was poor and had nothing. Because at least then I had people, had possibilities, had a life ahead of me. Now all I have is regret and money, and the money doesn't help. Subscribe if you're going to choose differently than I did.